gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bú jòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bọ́mọ pẹ́rẹ́ àmì padà ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ má bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jà mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣẹ wọn àwọn ará pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ á pè wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ àdàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó tẹ́ pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mi àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ lè mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lóńdò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
Koikimedia, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwa sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
Until they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
Until they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, ìléhùn ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdán ọ̀pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó Odùduwà.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí. Ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
Koikimedia, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá mọ̀ ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wa kájé gbùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá mọ̀ ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá mọ̀ ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tí wàá mọ̀ ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koikimedia ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé máa dé máa dé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ̀, àjòjì tó bá wọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o Koikimedia ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Òdùwà ni wá o tọkàntọkàn.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan kí oko lára ni.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́ àwa ní bàbá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Odùduwà la gbé dání òtítọ́ la gbé dání.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀ a kì í sọdí kẹta.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdúró tán a tún pèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia we bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia is around.
To give us latest.
Is around o.
Give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
Koikimedia is around.
To give us latest.
And a very good afternoon and welcome to the lecture where we discuss self-determination. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI and we are just on the first day of the month of May 2024. There's a lot of areas I want to cover this afternoon and this presentation will be in English, but we'll try as much as possible to speak in Yoruba. Please do not ask me to speak in Yoruba. I am not speaking to you alone. I am communicating with many people around the world so that we can be able to tell them our plight and reasons why we want self-determination. Many people might not know, but it's important that we tell you that there are countries around the world that are self-governing. There are countries that are now up to 32,000. So when the Yoruba people are saying that we want an independent Yoruba country, it is our right. But that right means that we must first ask questions, then start giving reasons why we need to go out of Nigeria. Some of those reasons have already been established very well in details by the leader of the Yoruba self-determination, Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Professor Akintoye, in a 35-page document, has highlighted all the reasons why the Yoruba people should and can become an independent country away from the current Nigeria that was created by British in 1914 amalgamation. As many people might not understand the reasons behind why we want our own independent country, but we will continue to say it clearly that the negotiation between us and the federal government will continue. And that negotiation means that it is one of the routes and one of the easiest way without a bloodshed or killings of each other for those of us that want self-determination. We know that self-determination is not a crime. And that is the reason why whatever we are doing today is under the legal laws of the world. On the screen is a letter that we've sent to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And as we continue to highlight that letter, as we continue to give you the reasons why it is important for me and you to understand that our right to self-determination will be respected, but we must first also tell you that there are countries around the world, many countries, that are known as self-governed. What is the meaning of what is the meaning of a self-governed territory? If somebody asks you today, what is the meaning of self-governing territories? The first question you should ask is, what is a territory? How do we define the word territory? If somebody asks you today, what is a territory? Territory. Once again, a very good afternoon at exactly 11 minutes past 1400 hours from London, where this broadcast is coming from. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. What is the meaning of territory? Do we first have the territory as Yoruba people that want to exit out of Nigeria? If somebody said to you, do we have our territory? And do we own that territory? The word territory, Tango Echo Romeo Romeo India, Tango Oscar Romeo Yankee. Territory. What do we understand by the word territory? According to the English dictionary, a territory is an area of land under the jurisdiction of a ruler or state. Both countries accuse the other of encroaching their territory. The word territory stands for land, Ile. For the benefit of my Yoruba audience, the word territory no long pe ni Ile. Do we have the land in Jani Ile gan ta fe sọ pé a fẹ́ dúró lé lórí láti fi ṣe governing, láti fi ṣe ìjọba tara wa? Because you cannot go to the north and steal their land and say you want to call it Yoruba nation. The reason why we are asking for Yoruba nation inside the southwest part of what is known as Nigeria today is because we own that territory. Awala ni leyen. There might be all kind of argument out there that the land presently belongs to Nigeria, but the land does not belong to Nigeria because the Yoruba has that land prior before the 1914 fraudulent amalgamation by British government or the British Empire of that time. So if you're one of those that are probably concerned and mixing it that Nigeria owns our territory, no, Nigeria does not own that territory. The territory belongs to us and it will remain ours and nobody have the right to take it from us. So when the people ask you, what is the reason why you are asking for Yoruba nation? Tell them that you want to take control back of your boundaries. As many of you might not know, just to keep you up to date with what is happening in UK immigration. Rishi Sunak has finally said enough is enough and we are kicking people out of UK. According to the Home Office at UK Home Office that deals with the UK government Department for Immigration, Passport, Drugs, Policy, Crime, Fire, Counter-Terrorism and Police, I can tell you that the government of UK are preventing extremists that have been banned from UK. 8 preachers, we have many of them in Yoruba land today, that are pretenders, that are telling you that they are preaching one religion to you, but most of them are extremists. But those will be dealt with by the Yoruba immigration in the near future. But I can tell you that today, the United Kingdom, according to James Cleverly, we're going to listen to that in a minute, we are delivering our plans to reduce migration. In Yoruba land today, you cannot, and I can assure you, should we remain in Nigeria, you will not be able to control the migration of the Igbos into the southwest. You will not be able to control the migration of the Hausas into the southwest. You will not be able to control the migration of any other ethnic indigenous people that are living with us in the present day Nigeria. That is one of the reasons why we need to all be asking for a country away from the restructure, because the restructure gives the right for Igbos to continue to live any part of Nigeria, but we can control the migration and have a cordial relationship with the Igbos when we come out of Nigeria. We are not going to chase everybody away, but we will not allow part of those that will become extremists, hate preacher, drug pusher, counterfeit producer. All these are the reasons why Yoruba people must stand now and ask for a country where you will take control of your borders. Right now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not control the Nigerian borders. We are not even talking about those that are Nigerians that have lived together for the 63 years. We are also concerned about the Fulani jihadis that are now living with us. We do not have the total numbers of those that are living with us, but we know that they are coming in their numbers in thousands. And evidence base says that 29,000 Yoruba people were killed by Fulani terrorists because of an open porous borders. But the UK government will not allow extremists and terrorists to come into the UK. And that is why yesterday, 30th of April 2024, this was published. Hate preachers, extremists are banned from the UK. When we have the control of the Yoruba government, we will be able to do such. Tinubu will not be able to do it right now, neither will your governors. That is why Governor Seyi Makinde does not have the balls to tell us who bombed Ibadan on the 16th of January that led to 7 deaths, 80 people killed, multiple houses destroyed. No report and no charges as I speak to you today. It is because we do not have what it takes to ban people of such within our territory. Our territory is now open to drug pushers, terrorism, and multiple fake drugs, and so many other crimes against Yoruba people. Those of you that do not want us to go out of Nigeria, you will not be able to control your migration. Dangerous extremists intent on promoting extreme ideologies will be blocked from entering the United Kingdom as the government set up action to protect the public, myself, my children, and many of us that live in the UK. Who is protecting your interest in the day of Yoruba land today? As many of you have been caught up with many ideologies. Preachers, we know them across Yoruba land. They are preaching an extremist view to our children, our youth, and many people are not concerned because they want us to keep one Nigeria. Let me say this clearly, that if we do not come out of Nigeria within the next 30 years, we will have more extremists living close to us in approximately less than 2 meters away from each other. Already we have Fulani that are riding Okadas across Yoruba land. Remember that they were coming in their droves, they were coming in their thousands, and yet we do not have what it takes to control the borders. But the UK would not allow such. The question then is, why is the UK that allowed Gibraltar to have their own territory, which is known as the British Overseas Territory, with 32,000 people, 32,649 as at last year. They have their own dialing code, even though it was captured from Spain on the 4th of August 1704. Yet, Gibraltar is a British Overseas Territory and headland on the Spain south coast. It is dominated by the Rock of Gibraltar, a 426-meter high limestone ridge, first settled by the Moors in the Middle Age and later ruled by the Spain. The outpost was seceded to the British in 1713. The British have not just been creating countries for a very long time. Nigeria was one of those countries that was created. My question is, are you as a Yoruba man ready to take back your true identity as a Yoruba, or do you want to remain as a slave known as Nigeria? The question is up to you. Gibraltar is 32,000, is a British overseas. Yet, the British government is saying to 60 million Yoruba people to toss off and keep Nigeria and make sure you work with Nigeria. Even though we have been told by the former governor, for the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, that the British is their intention to keep Nigeria together. Falkland Island. Falkland Island, a remote South Atlantic archipelago with a rugged terrain and a cliff line coast. It is hundreds of islands and islets, are home to sheep farms and abundant bird life. The capital, Stanley, sits on the East Falkland, the largest island. The town Falkland Island Museum has a theme gallery devoted to maritime exploration, natural resources, the 1982 Falkland War and other subjects. The total population is 2,840. An area of 12,173 kilometers, not even up to some of our local government in Oyo State today. Yet, the British continue to rule over it since the 3rd of January 1833. Let's come back to James Cleaver and listen to what he has to say as they continue to reduce the migration. While we allow migration to continue, we would be overpowered by many other indigenous people in Yoruba land within the next 30, 40 years. You might say it's quite a long time. 40 years from now, I will be 80 plus. How old will you be is the question. How many other indigenous people will be overshadowing our population? While we are not growing very fast, they will continue to grow, and they will one day override us, and they will take away our land from us, and you will no longer have the resources that belongs to you. If you are one of those that are still against Yoruba nation, you need to start thinking. The UK government is thinking ahead, and that is why James Cleaver is the Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, and he stated clearly some 23 hours ago that we are now reducing our plan of migration into UK. Let's start with that video. A very good afternoon. I will not start mentioning your names, but I welcome you to the program. It is important that you share this program to your family, your loved ones, your churches, your mosques, your groups, so that Yoruba people that still want to save Nigeria, you will be override very soon should you keep Nigeria.
At the end of last year, we promised to deliver the biggest cut to legal migration that this country has seen. In January, we banned the vast majority of overseas postgraduate students from bringing their dependents to the UK when they study. The results are now clear. In the first 3 months of 2023, 32,900 people arrived by this route. In the first 3 months of this year, 2024, that fell to 6,700. That's 26,200 fewer people in just 3 months. Now, this is only one of the measures that we have introduced, And we will see the effect of all the measures combined in the coming weeks and months. We promised action, and we are delivering on that promise.
Do you think that Governor Seyi Makinde, Sanwo-Olu, Dapo Abiodun, Ayetiwa Tida, and the rest of them, Adeleke, Abdul Fatai, can reduce the migration of people that are not Yoruba into Yoruba land today? You can put it in the comment section. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n rò pé wọ́n lè reduce the numbers àwọn tó wọlé sílẹ̀ Yorùbá lẹ́nu níbi tílẹ̀ ṣúdẹ̀? Should we remain in one Nigeria? They are Nigerians and they have every right to move around. But we can reduce that migration, just as UK gave you the statistics that as at last year, 30-something thousand people came to UK through certain routes because they were coming with their children and their families. With their families rather. That number dropped to 6,900 as at the same time this year. Because why? You are no longer allowed to bring a dependent to UK as a student. It's not just about the student alone that they're concerned. They are also concerned about people that are coming into UK through what are known as the boats. Many people are coming in that the government is now fully concerned. Today, according to the UK government, 40 more people with no right to be in the UK on one of our regular return flights. This includes one foreign criminal with combined prison sentence of more than 50 years. How many criminals are moving around in Yoruba land today that you would not be able to control? Many Yoruba people are sleeping in danger and it will attack us one day. Should we not do anything today? What can we do? You cannot control that narrative should we remain in Nigeria, even with a restructured Nigeria. It just have to be a total independent country that would then allow us to defend and protect the territorial ground of Yoruba land through many of these problems. Let me say this again. We have terrorists. We have all other criminals that are moving around in the southwest part of Yoruba land, feeding our children with drugs. Many of them are now using cocaine, ecstasy, all kind of substance. Many of our female girls have been turned into prostitutes because of the drugs that they are using. Who are those behind the drugs? Who are those behind terrorism? We know that the idea of terrorism in Africa is to make sure that our lands are taken away from us and they will start building what they call GMO food. Most of you might not understand what that means. You will not be able to get fresh food as we used to do some 50 years ago. You would have no other choice to start eating GMO food, food that have been injected. You will not be able to go to the farm and produce cassava that can grow naturally because the Fulani terrorists control that narrative today. Many people are sleeping. The UK-Rwanda treaty has been rectified. This is another major step towards the first flight leaving. Many of you will be taken away from UK back to Rwanda because the UK is tired and fed up of criminals that are coming through the small boat that we cannot control. We don't know who or where they're coming from. How many people are coming into the southwest today? Tí a ní numbers yẹn. Èèyàn mélòó ló ń wọlé sílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní ojoojúmọ́? Tí a dẹ̀ mọ̀ bí tó ti ń bọ̀, a dẹ̀ mọ̀ ideology wọn. Wàá dẹ̀ set up mọ́ṣáláṣí, wàá set up a church, wàá set up ilé ẹláwo. That is just on the side. What about those that are kidnapping us? What about those that are committing crime against humanity? Why are the Yoruba leaders and elders and the kings sleeping in darkness when Yoruba land is being overshadowed as we speak today? It is time that we wake up. Happy New Month. Yoruba can be a country just as Gilberta is a country. Gilberta is 32,649. Let's move swiftly out of these. But remember, hate preachers and extremists are now banned from the UK. You will not bring your idiot ideology and preach it here in UK. If we find out you are one of those coming from Nigeria, we will stop you with every means through the normal legal road from the UK Home Office. You will not come to UK. You can do those shit in Nigeria, but you will not be allowed to do that and change the mindset of our people. And if we find that you're doing that online, we will report you and your IP address will be destroyed. A very good afternoon and welcome to the program at exactly 14:30 p.m. local time in London. Dangerous hate preachers spewing veiled extremists in our communities could be blocked from entering the UK, the government has announced today. A new task force has been set up as part of the government action to clamp down on hate and protect the British public. Who is going to protect the Yoruba people from all the crime against humanity today? Many of you are sleeping because you are not comfortable with Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination. You are not comfortable with Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, with your PhD and masters. You will be part of those that your blood will be used to spill the Yoruba land. Because many people are dying quietly and we don't know who is killing them. Right inside Lagos State, some few weeks back or probably few days back, this story was picked up only from me yesterday. Chairman of the Victoria Garden City, Lagos, a very affluent area in Nigeria, Lagos, Mebilu, found dead in his car. Whatever the reason, I don't know. This happened in Lagos. It could happen in New York. It could happen in Moscow. I totally agree. But these are people that probably are just living a normal life, but something has gone wrong. I don't know. It was the chairman of the Victoria Garden City, Lagos, who was found dead in his car. May so rest in peace. Hate preachers and extremists, we will be automatically referred to the Home Office for immigration action. How do we do the same thing in Yoruba land is until we have an independent Yoruba country. Your current immigration does not have what it takes, the capacity to protect the interest. Ibadan, this year alone, we saw the bomb in Ibadan that killed innocent Yoruba people. Till date, everything has gone quiet. Nobody talks about it anymore. We moved on. Owo attack some years back in Ondo State. What happened? Terrorists came in, St. Francis Church, massacre, spilled blood. Life moves on. Nobody talks about it anymore. Igogon, multiple killings. Is this how we will continue living and allow hate preachers and extremists and terrorists? UK will be automatically referring this to Home Office for immigration action, including cancellation or refusal of visa should they attempt to travel to UK. Information will be gathered using our embassy network and using open source intelligent expertise. If you are aware of any such of those that are operating in Nigeria today and they are planning to come to UK, let us know. We will report them to the UK Home Office. The government will also work in communities across the UK, the Nigerian community, the Pakistan community, the Indian community, and many communities to make sure that we stop extremists from coming into UK and preach their nonsense to us. Keep your religion to yourself. We've told you so many times. The UK-based organization attempting to sponsor visa for dangerous individuals may also face their sponsorship license revoked, meaning they can no longer request visas for such individuals. By taking this more proactive approach, the government will be able to refuse more visas to dangerous individuals intent to spreading extremists, stopping them from entering the UK. This came from Home Secretary James Clever says the UK has some of the most sophisticated mechanisms for stopping foreign extremism. Does your Nigerian government have what it takes to stop terrorism and Fulani attacks on Yoruba land today? No, we don't have it, because we have been sleeping for too long. Let's now come out of that and come back here. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. If you're new to the platform, it's self-determination platform. Last year, October 11, 2023, this was published by the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office and Mongo Woodfield. The headline says, and I read, the United Kingdom remains committed to upholding self-determination, not for Nigerians, but for their territories that they control. Nigeria has become an independent country. According to the UK, you have representatives. If there's any problem, let them deal with it. My question is, have they ever dealt with any of our problems? Or they've add more problem to it? Live in denial. One day, you will wake up and understand that your land is being taken away from you. The UK remains committed to upholding self-determination. Why then is Nigeria not also allowed to uphold self-determination? It's because we are being looked at as animals, not as human beings. Because Buhari was able to massacre and kill many innocent lives. Yet, the British, the Europeans, the Americans, the East Asians countries refuse to speak out because they are part of taking something out of Nigeria, and they were not ready to upset the dead or alive Muhammadu Buhari, the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is the statement that was delivered by Mongo Woodfield to the UK spokesperson to the United Nations at the UN 4th Committee. When we tell those of you gullible idiots that the Yorubas are not yet fully a country, you have been deceived. The United Nations will talk about you when you have not yet even got to the stage for a conversation of such. But UK was able to speak about their self-determination responsibilities in overseas territories at the UN 4th. Let's read through. Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me start by reiterating that the UK has a modern relationship with all of its overseas territories based on partnership, on shared values, and on the right of the peoples of each territory to choose to remain British or not. British is giving opportunity. Wọ́n fáwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ territory tí wọ́n ṣe ń control ní right láti either remain part of the British or not. Kí ló dé tí tọ̀dọ̀ tiwa fẹ́ wá yàtọ̀? Ìbéèrè tó yẹ kẹ́ máa béèrè lọ́wọ́ ara yín nìyẹn. Kí ló dé tí tiwa wá ń yàtọ̀? Tá à ń béèrè fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa tán ní ẹ̀tọ́ yẹn kò ń ṣe tó yẹ ká béèrè fún. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀ tẹ́ ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. I won't mention names, but we'll try and appreciate you towards the end of the program because of our time constraint. Let me restart again. UK, ìyẹn tó chair ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ó ní UK ńkọ́ ó ní relationship pẹ̀lú gbogbo overseas territories based on partnership, on shared values, and on the right of the people. Ẹ̀tọ́ àwọn tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ yẹn, bóyá wọ́n sì fẹ́ remain British or not. Kí ló wá dé tí ẹ̀tọ́ tiwa tá à ń béèrè pé ṣé a sì fẹ́ wà nínú Nàìjíríà àbá sí nínú Nàìjíríà, kí ló wá fẹ́ dìjà, kí ló wá fẹ́ dogun? Kí ló dé tí ẹ̀tọ́ àwọn kan fẹ́ ju tira wọn lọ? Ṣé torí pé aláwọ̀ funfun ni wọ́n, àwa yàtọ̀ ní àwọ̀? Ṣọ́lọ́run dá wa dáadáa ni. We were created very well. It's just that we don't have those that have the balls to speak and work towards our quest to self-determination. Most of them are vampires. All your politicians are vampires. They are not there for you. Ìwọ ló rò pé they are there for you. Ìwọ ló ń pọ́n wọn lé, olórí burúkú ni wọ́n látòkè délẹ̀. The United Kingdom overseas territories have a large measure of internal self-government. Ẹgbọ́rọ̀ yẹn, self-government. Today you are not self-governed because Nigeria is controlled from outside, not from inside. And many of you will struggle to survive up to age 52. It's not a cause, it's just a reality. But the Yoruba people do not like reality. They love to be deceived. The UK is giving measures to their overseas territories. And first, the question to Mokoko Bere ni, what is the meaning of territory? Do we have territory? Yes, we do. Where is our territory? From Kwara State down to Kogi, Ondo State, down to Osun State, down to Oyo State, Ogun State, and Lagos State, Ekiti State. But yet, Yoruba people do not want us to talk about our territory as an independent, but we talk about it as one Nigeria with fraudulent PDP and APC that are governing you in that contraction you call Nigeria. Nigeria is a contraction, and it will never work in Jesus' name. It will never work, inshallah. Lashedumare, Nigeria will never work because the foundation is faulty. Continue to live in denial that Nigeria is going to work. It will never work. What is the definition of territory? Territory is a land which is controlled by a particular country or ruler. Do we have what it takes to control our part of Yoruba land? Yes, we have the intellectuals, we have the people, we have what it takes. But yet, we are all living in denial and dying slowly inside Nigeria. Yoruba people, you must learn today. Someone is posting, I cannot confirm that there's Maya town on fire in Okeogun. I hope you have enough fire resources to stop it. There's not much I can do from here. What is the meaning of territory according to the Collins Dictionary? Territory is a land which is controlled by a particular country. Today, the Yorubas, you are not in control of your territory. Your territory has been taken away from you, but we can take it back should every Yoruba sons and daughters want it. But we are having half of the Yorubas that say we want to restructure Nigeria so that Nigeria will still be controlled from outside. You will not have your territory belong to you. Territory. But the UK continue to allow their overseas territories to have a large measure of internal self-government. And the question is, what is the meaning of self-government? Do we understand the meaning of self-government? When I asked Google, what is the meaning of self-government or self-governed territories? A country or an area that is self-governed is controlled by the people living there. Mo ń bi ọmọ Yorùbá pé ṣáwa là ń control ilẹ̀ tá à ń gbé lénìí. Oh, you can tell me that we have a governor, Seyi Makinde in Oyo State, Dapo Abiodun in Ogun State, Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State, Datiwa in Ondo State, and the rest of them in other states, Adeleke in Osun State. But I can tell you that those territories that you think that they control, well, people bound that touch resources to what according to the fraudulent 1999 Constitution. So the problem is, most of us will remain poor in our land, even though Osun has vast amount of gold, but we are poor. Ondo State have vast amount of gas, and crude oil, yet we are poor. Lagos has Apapa Port, but is in control by the Western world, not by the government of Lagos State. What kind of fully percentage? Sanwo-Olu is just a normal figurehead. Stone Cold Peter says, and I quote, self-govern means having the ability to govern oneself or make decisions independently without external control. It can refer to individuals, communities, or even regions that have the power to manage their own affairs and make choice without interference from higher authority. It's like being in charge of your own destiny. And wow, see, in charge of our destiny today. Our destiny is no longer in our charge. People are managing it on our behalf, and we remain poor and our life are miserable. And it will remain miserable until we take our territory back. That is the first key. You must take that territory back. But many Yoruba people say, we do not want to take our territory back. Let's just live as it is right now because we love it like that. Many of you might not know that we own the territory before the 1914 fraudulent amalgamation. These are so many maps that can give us every reasons why we say we have our territory. If I open this up, it gives you some breakdown about the Yoruba map. Some might be accurate and some might not. If I go into Oyo Empire map, you can see that all these maps, and as it says there on Wikipedia, Oyo Empire was a Yoruba empire in West Africa. It was located in the present-day southern Benin and western Nigeria, including the southwest zone and the western half of the north-central zone. The empire grew to become the largest Yoruba-speaking state through the organizational and administrative effort of the Yoruba people. Do you understand that? Because of our own organizational and administrative effort, we were able to grow the Oyo Empire until the West destroyed it because they realized that it was growing far bigger than other empires around the world. We were doing trade as well as we have the military use of cavalry. The Oyo Empire was one of the most politically important states in Western Africa from the mid-17th century up to the late 18th century until the fraudulent amalgamation overshadowed and took away. And the Yoruba son and daughter is more well pleased and excited to become Nigeria a bomb bastard person when we should be celebrating our real identity as Yoruba people. But because you are all living in a mental slavery, Operation Keep Them Poor. Once again, a very good afternoon. During the 17th and the 18th century, we were a kingdom. Legend of the origin. The origins of Oyo Empire lie with Oroyon, also known as Oromiyan, the last prince of the Yoruba kingdom of Ile-Ife. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just keep to it as territories. We own the territory, but it is no longer in our control. That is the reason why your borders have been left open for mass killing of innocent Yoruba people. Between the 14th and 16th of last month, April 2024, over 20 innocent Yoruba people, including a woman that is pregnant, were killed by Fulani terrorists. But the Yorubas are too busy with other things that are so much exciting to them. The dancing, the music, the entertainment as used to get us carried away, while the true pictures of massacre within our territory continue on a daily basis. Let's come back again to the UK message to the United Nations last year, October 2023. The UK overseas territories have a large measures of internal self-government subject only to the UK retaining powers to carry out its obligations under international law. We have a close bilateral relationship with each of these territories, but the UK and the overseas territory government also hold a joint ministerial council. Imagine UK is having joint ministerial council with a country that is not up to 40,000, Gibraltar. They are having joint ministerial council with a country, Falkland Island, that is not up to 8,000 people. Yet 60 million Yoruba people today wants to be governing themselves, control their territories, and work with other countries around the world and set up businesses, have embassies, and establish contact and keep it as it is like any other countries. But the Yoruba people say, no, we do not want that. All we want is Nigeria, because we are going to save it from going down like the Titanic. But already it has sunk. We are committed to supporting the territories. Do you imagine UK is committed to supporting territories that is not up to our village? Yet, they are excited to keep us under one country called Nigeria, while many idiot Yoruba people are against self-determination. They are so intelligent in their head that they think that they can fight a monster set-up system where election has been rigged by British government as far back as 1959. Many of you continue to lament and cry that INEC is rigging election. You might want to ask why British rigged the first election in 1959 to favor the northern part of Nigeria. We are committed to supporting the territories on their priorities, including environmental protection, and to carrying out our constitutional responsibility, including ensuring security. Many of you cannot even boast of a 24 hours security on our territories in Yoruba land today. Yet, the UK is ensuring security for some of their overseas territories. What the hell is wrong with Yoruba people? People that are meant to know, educated Yoruba people, master degree holder, non-degree holder. Yet, all they will tell you is, we can fix Nigeria, it is just leadership problem. You can imagine what is going on in their brain. I know some of you are not even so comfortable with Yoruba Nation, because to you, who are those running Yoruba Nation that we want to get involved with? Yet, when UK were coming into our territory, they were not sending 40, 70 years old people. They were sending people that were not even old enough to sleep with a girl. Some of them were 17 years old. They were sent into those territories known as the Oyo Empire and kill and massacre and control those territories with weapons. We might not have the weapon, but we have what it takes to now educate you, which is what we are doing every day on Koikimedia. Thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin Adumati. The reason why I've gone back to bring this to your light, for you to understand that UK continue to support their overseas territories to self-determination, but they are not ready to support the Yoruba people. If you think that the UK will allow Yoruba people to exit Nigeria, even with negotiation, you will be living in a big dream. The UK told us point blank that we cannot allow Nigeria to break. Many Yoruba people that have sent letters to their member of parliament in UK, the foreign office says, we will not allow such to happen. Nigeria is just one independent country, according to them. Across the territories, the UK also provide financial and practical support to build local capacity and resiliencies, and have projects on the way to build new infrastructure, including a new hospital, port, and much more. What are those territories? I will tell you along the line. One of them we've talked about is Gibraltar and the Falkland Island. Mr. Chair, I would like to address a couple of specific points relating to two of the UK overseas territories. And I want us to take a note. If you can get a pen and paper, please keep it to the side. You might need it right now. Firstly, Gilberta. In the coming days, we anticipate that the committee will hear directly from the Chief Minister of Gilberta as the elected representative of his people. Do we have the right people that are representing us? All your governors and politicians are not representing you. They are representing themselves and their cronies, the Lebanese, the Indians, the Chinese, the West, and the Asians country to keep you in abject poverty. And that is why criminals will continue to defend criminals while poor people will die. Like we were told about the fire at one of the factory at Ogoduyo in Ikorodu some years back. The senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola, was defending was those used to defend the Chinese against innocent poor Yoruba people that were killed in that fire. You can watch the program we did earlier this morning. All the details is already inside. Hello? Yeah. All right. I'll be standing up on my seat, but I will have a video ready that will last more than enough for me to come back on my seat. So let me prepare that video, because I will be standing up for about a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, but the video will be enough to cover me until I'm back on my seat. So let me quickly prepare that, because I have to start standing up. The program is not yet finished. Please do not call. We're not taking calls on this particular program right now. Let's quickly get the video ready. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and this is Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep as we continue to look at the British overseas territories. Why is it so important for them to keep those territories under self-determination, yet Yoruba people are not given the same opportunity as well? Firstly, we've talked about Gilberta. We welcome their participation and restate that the UK long-standing commitment to the people of Gilberta remains unchanged. The UK will not enter into arrangement under which the people of Gilberta will pass under the sovereignty of another state against their freely and democratically expressed wishes. What the UK is saying here, àwọn ò ní gbà kí ìlú míì kó change narrative in táwọn ọmọ Gilberta bá fẹ́, by making sure that they will not pass under the sovereignty of another state. Why then are we allowed not to have our own independent country? Is because the UK does not want us to be free. This is what many Yoruba people don't know. Gilberta is 32,649. All right, I'll check that out, Mr. Idris. Let me stand up and prep this, because I gotta go now, just to make something across the road, and I'll be back. Enjoy this until I'm back on my seat. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and this is Koikimedia, bringing the work closer to your doorstep. Hello. So I'm going to give you the full screen without me inside. Enjoy this. This is Mr. Aro Smith and Mrs. Carol Smith. Both live in Nigeria. It's 24 minutes. Trust me, I'll be back on my seat before that. Enjoy it while I come back. And I think I should stop the Instagram and start fresh so that we don't have any interruption, because I might go on my seat and you might not be watching anything. So let me just start Instagram all over again afresh. And I say thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, wherever you are. Moki Professor Adebanjo Akitoye, Moki Oloye Gbowo, Moki Gbogbo different groups that are working tirelessly to make sure that the Yoruba people can be free from the bondage of what the British created in the first place. So I'm gonna play that video and I'll be back on my seat and we can continue the conversation this afternoon. You might have watched the video before, or you might just be the first time you're seeing that video. This video was produced in UK. This man died some few years back. I'm even told that Gibraltar plays in Europe and World Cup qualifier. They are independent country and they are not up to 40,000. I'll play the video now. Enjoy it while I come back.
Mrs. Carol Smith, welcome.
Thank you.
May I say how delighted we are to be on Passion. We've looked forward to speaking to an African television station for decades. This is something we have looked forward to for such a long time, and we are so happy to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Aro Smith was a young, bright and principled Oxford University graduate who was recruited by the Colonial Office and posted to Nigeria. He took his final examination a year ahead of his class. He also married Mrs. Carol Smith, whom he met while they were both at Oxford University. Together they went to Nigeria, where they had their 2 children. Mr. Aro Smith, you were featured in a program recently by BBC Radio 4,
Yes.
titled Document,
Yes.
and that was hosted by Mr. Mike Thompson.
Yes.
You are alleged that the British government rigged the first and most important election in the history of Nigeria in 1959 in favor of the North. Am I correct?
Yes.
How long were you in Nigeria for?
From 1955 to 1960. And we were based in Lagos. I was on the staff of the Department of Labour. I was largely occupied with employment problems, all the employment exchanges, and statistics, and international reports, and was kept pretty busy. I was also stationed in Lagos in charge of the capital and the port. I was the port labour officer as well, and I also devised a port labour scheme and later a social security scheme, which was one of the first in Africa, which guaranteed workers some income after they'd finished work. It was a providence scheme. As I say, it was called the National Providence Scheme, and I was very proud to have put that on the statute book.
I was going to ask you what your role is. You've mentioned 3 important. Is there any particular name given to your office while you were there?
Just labour officer.
I was a labour officer, a senior civil servant.
Okay.
I only intended to stay in Lagos initially for 2 tours of duty. Although, because of this conflict with the elections, there were difficulties. Actually, government wouldn't let me leave the civil service. They were determined that I should stay in the civil service after my 2 tours. And I was offered very considerable incentives, including a knighthood, to stay and work for government. Primarily this was because I had access to state secrets. I learned, and the Governor General himself confirmed this to me, that the elections were rigged, contrived. the intention was that the North should rule Nigeria. Even in 56, the northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections, they might not join Nigeria, they might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries, there's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north. This wasn't very practical at all. And then it was, the Governor-General seemed to be thinking that the North couldn't, even if it won an election, rule Nigeria by itself. The South wouldn't stand for that. So there had to be a partner, either the Igbos in the east or the Yoruba in the west, to team up with the North. What he didn't want was for the two southern parties, the Igbo and the Yoruba, to team up to form the government, because he believed the North wouldn't tolerate that and talked about leaving the federation. So as I learned, in a small way at first, but very rapidly I learned about the election fixing, and as I say, this was confirmed to me by the Governor-General. He actually said that he wanted me to know the truth because he wanted me to know how much trouble I was in.
You mentioned statistics, you were collecting figures. Yes. Is that for labor and unemployed people only, or general?
Primarily, but obviously my interest was in the population
of generally. Nigeria.
Yes, and Awolowo, the Yoruba leader of the action group, yep, and Chief Enaharo, they too, other people were saying, where are all these millions of people in the north? Where are they? We're going up there to campaign. We want to know, you know. And you see all these, you know, thousands of miles of not very developed countryside, and yet the northerners are claiming that their voting registration figures are larger than in the south, you know, larger, far more people up there. Well, actually, if you went through the Igbo land, you know, Enugu and that, you saw lots and lots of people. If you went to Ibadan, again, Ibadan teeming, you know, with millions of people. But we didn't actually see many northerners, and obviously not many northerners at that time came to Lagos. So this did arouse suspicion. Now, the Europeans, you know, not stupid, we are watching what's going on in Nigeria, and we too are beginning to feel there's something not quite right here, that maybe the elections are not going to be as straightforward as they're meant to be. Nigeria was being described as the showcase of democracy, and it was expected that the nationalist leaders would win through. But actually, when the election results were announced by the Governor-General, before the vote was even in, he didn't vote, didn't count for that, he didn't wait for that. I have to tell you, the British were counting the votes, and the British cannot be trusted. They look after their friends. Loyalty is the big thing for the British. And we were friends with the emirs of the north. We looked on people like Enaharo and Awolowo as rather dangerous people. They might even be communists. That was ridiculous, actually. They couldn't be communists in 1,000 years. But this was a sort of thing that was being said. And we were, Europeans, were getting a bit worried about all this. It wasn't quite the honest, straightforward election that we were hoping for.
Apart from Professor Anderson and Dr. Patrick Wilmot that supported your submission on the rigged election, there were other people who also served in the colonial office in your days. I mean, who opposed to this submission?
Initially, I was warned of what was going on by my senior officer, a Major Bunker. I didn't know, and I knew that the Governor-General had directed me to take all the office staff of the Ministry of Labour to help Chief Okoti Igbo in politicking in Warri. And this was most irregular. And I refused to do this. Having refused an order, I know what the drill is. You resign. I resign my post. That is the proper thing to do. What they did then was rather devious. They persuaded me to withdraw my resignation, and when I did, they sacked me. It didn't go through, but I thought this was a bit low after I'd resigned and was prepared to leave the country. This was not very nice behaviour. They later withdrew this and said that I had been of some service to the state, and actually commended me for what I had done, and said I could leave Nigeria with splendid testimonials, and we shook hands on this. And this was done with the recognition of the Deputy Governor General, Sir Ralph Grey. And then I left Nigeria the first time and took up a job as a personnel officer, a very big job, with the Esso refinery. And then government came after me, declared that I was a traitor, and I had betrayed the British people, ought to be imprisoned, and I lost that job. And then they came to me again and said it's all been a big mistake, dreadful mistake. I'm a jolly decent chap, you know, Oxford chap, and they put me on a plane straight back to Nigeria, where I'd make up for the time I'd been away. There was a great deal of good work for me to do, and we fell for this. We shouldn't.
Well, you've been listening, so thank you so much for many of you, T. Eshiwa Kweluwa, and I appreciate the time. I've seen some of your comment coming through. Thank you to our Biafra brothers that are joining us, and our Arewa brothers, and those Ambazonia, and many of those of you that are joining us either for the first time or not. I'm not going to allow that video to go on. You know, we will also play it some other time. It's just what we wanted to hold it for that period of time that I was not on my seat. So, but we will always have that video available, and I can always post it for those of you maybe on Twitter, which is X, to go and listen to. Our focus point ní ọ̀sán òun ni pé kí ló dé tí British can talk about their overseas territories, but yet when it comes to our, you're right, Peter Pan said, why do our people love suffering and smiling? Well, we can't blame them. Like someone said yesterday, Operation Keep Them Poor. Thank you so much, Waris Jinodu, and many of you that have joined us in the course of the program this afternoon. Let's just keep it going. I will appreciate many of you more in the course of the program. Somebody asks, where do I get my strength from? Well, the only way we get the strength from is from you all that is always available when we go live and try to speak to many of you. So once again, I would like to say thank you so much for I think we should move swiftly because there's still more area to cover. Every program has its message. The message why is Britain using their overseas territories in a way that favors them? But the same thing shall see multiple independent countries that is currently in Nigeria. Now that I know you very well, more than I know you before today, I can only much more appreciate and love you, my brother Triple DRS, all the way in Woolwich. Woolwich. If you're new to the platform, please share the program. Koikimedia team, all the way from Ekiti State to Ondo State to Ojaodon. It is King AY. Welcome to the program. And Gani Oloyede. Shout out to those of you on the Mix LR. You know, you always enjoy your 3 hours non-stop. You have about an hour 46 minutes. The program should have ended before then. Shout out to Yemi Fatoki and to my beautiful mother that I spoke to prior before the program, and to my wives. Let's come back to Gilberta. Britain knows she good cordial relationship is already on with Gilberta. But the problem is, why are they not having the same relationship with Yoruba country, Biafra and Arewa? No, they would rather want it to be one Nigeria that favors them. You're right. Babawa Benjamin Adumati says it is just because of their selfish interest, and we must stop that. And the way we can stop that is to educate many Yoruba people that are still hoping that Nigeria will work. Maybe because Ofigba football have in Nigeria. And like somebody said to me earlier, and we can always even do, you know, Gilberta. All right, let me, because sometimes those spellings, if you don't get it right. So I just want to do some much more search. Let's do something. Let's look at their football. I mean, a country that is independent like them, do you see that they have Welcome to Gilberta Football Association? This is a country of 32,000, part of the British Overseas Territory. They have their own league. Have you ever thought about Ijoti Wanoma play league for Yoruba country? Within the, I'm not even talking about playing outside. Within the territory, not the one in Nigeria. Then Baleni. Mokia Tobi Miloma, welcome to the program. So let's look whether Gilberta plays. I just want to check something. Plays international football. Let's just check. Do you see that Gilberta was joined with Scotland? I don't know when this fixture is all about, but let's see if we can get it much open. So Gilberta was match. This was okay. This September, Nations League. Can you Omo Yoruba? Can you just imagine? Ìlú tó pé 34,000. Ó máa play pẹ̀lú Listenia àti San Marino. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ wo àwọn ìlú méjèèjì yẹn. Listenia fúnra rẹ̀, the population of Listenia as at today, Listenia, not Listenia country. The population of Listenia, òun náà fúnra rẹ̀ is 39,000. Àwọn ìlú kékèké wá bára wọn play football. Do you imagine what I'm talking about? Listenia population, well, I mean, it's over 10,000. You know, I'm looking up from the online. I won't go with that. It's 39,000 according to the World Bank. Official language is German. Listenia, a country, one we need Listenia. I hope I pronounce it very well. Ó máa play pẹ̀lú Gilberta. Wọ́n jọ wà ní the same fixture. Kò tẹ gbogbo 50,000 tẹ́tẹ́ sọ yẹn kò tó bẹ́ẹ̀. It's less than that. Kò tó 40,000. The population of Listenia is 39,327. Ǹjẹ́ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ń ronú báyìí? Ẹ má bínú because àwọn ọmọ yìí ti dé so our eyes have to be on the ball. Ǹjẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ̀ ń ronú báwọn bí mi ṣe ń ronú pé ìjọkùn náà gbọ́dọ̀ wà? We can play football with the Biafra, with the Arewas. That will be multiple countries contesting. I don't want to divert from checking countries and countries. Let's stick to the one that we're working with. Okay, San Marino. Yeah, definitely I'm going to check San Marino because San Marino is part of the San Marino. San Marino is 33,600. So all these countries are not even up to 40,000. Yet they are competing in football. Láàrin ara wọn. Is there something really wrong with us? Sheikh Imam Nazim Okiyisa. Assalamu alaikum. Is there something wrong with the Yoruba people that cannot think? But remember that the reason why we were able to pick on San Marino and Listenia is because UK Overseas Territory known as Gilberta will be playing football with them on the 8th of September 2024. This year, Lord doing. They are playing, I don't know what competition it is. Even Gilberta will be playing with Scotland. Eshigoni Sheikh Imam Nazir, Jamiu, Bulala, Adrayam Agbasa. What is really wrong with us? What is our problem? Why are we not more concerned? Wales 4, Gibraltar 0, a friendly match between two countries. And they're telling Yoruba people, you don't have the right to self-determination. I was even told that Gibraltar was even playing with England and France this year in preparing for their game. Well, I don't know what new incident. We've talked about it. You know, there's not much I can do from here. And please do not distract us with your comments. Katusonipa fire is entirely up to the government of the state to go and check whatever it is. I don't have any video. You've just given me a message. I don't even have the evidence, but I'm going with what you're saying. And this is an international platform. France 14. Gibraltar 0. Hooray for the current format of international football. Here is everything you need to know about Wales and Gibraltar. This was last year, October. But Yoruba person now, Omo Yoruba can feel part of because you want to get into the Nigerian National League. Yet, well, we've already broadcast it. I don't have any video. I don't have any image. You say there's a fire somewhere in Okeogun or somewhere. We've talked about it. What more do you want me to shake my party? Hey, you know what? You know, what do you want me to be talking about? Broadcast it. Okay, I've done that already. Let's move swiftly. I just want us to understand that asking for Yoruba country is not a crime. It's just that the understanding they are confused human beings. They cannot see the future of a Yoruba national team, a Yoruba Premier League, a Yoruba basketball team, a Yoruba swimmers, a Yoruba driving, sport, in all kind of sport. And all these countries are not even up to 40,000. Yet, they are competing on international stage. Let's close all these because of the space. Let's come back to the UK overseas territories. UK says, and I quote, that the UK will not enter arrangements under which the people and when your Gibraltar will pass under sovereignty of another state against their freely and democratically expressed wishes. Why are the Yoruba proving difficult to allow an independent Yoruba country? It's because many of them do not understand what we are really fighting for. Let's take this short break. I'll come back in a minute.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tájọ́ káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ kí á fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí àwọn bàbá wa ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bú jòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bó mo pera mi padà ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá wa jà mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣe wọ́n ra wọn ra pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ á dà lúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dà lúrú gbogbo protest tí mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mí àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ lè mi mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lóńdò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
And welcome back once again to the afternoon lecture, Self-Determination, UK Overseas Territories, Gibraltar, a country not up to 40,000, Falkland Island, 6,000 plus. And we are looking at the message UK produced at the United Nations 4th Committee. This was last year, October 2023. The United Kingdom also reaffirms that it will not enter into a process of sovereignty negotiation with which Gibraltar is not content. Sovereignty negotiation. That is exactly why I say to us, we will continue to negotiate with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as much as most of you might not want such. In everything in life, there will be negotiation. You will negotiate until, if the negotiation fails, you will negotiate. If it fails, you negotiate. And if it fails, then you will then start looking at other options. There are so many options on the table, there's no doubt about it. But you will first put the negotiation as part of it. So when people say we cannot negotiate with the current administration, I totally disagree. Regardless of my views or my take, negotiation must continue. And we are not working in line with any other independent or those asking for self-determination as well. We will go in accordance with the way we believe it has to be done under international law. That does not stop our awareness and campaign in Yoruba land. No one can stop that, not even your governors, not even the Inspector General of Police. It is our fundamental right when that time comes. But President Bola Tinubu, under this letter, has been given up to June 15th to acknowledge it so that we can start discussion around it. And that is the letter that we're talking about, this one. This letter is currently in the hands of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he will respond to it. He has up to June 15. Regardless of whether Afenifebis, the Afe Babalolas love this letter or not, this letter is already in front of President Bola Tinubu office, the presidency. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. I will educate you as a baby that wants to start nursery and understand the true meaning and picture of what Nigeria means to you. Yes, you were born there because Nigeria was created. If Nigeria was not created, you will not be born inside. And like Benjamin Adumari said, negotiation, not a mistake. So don't let anyone tell you that they are negotiating because they are a member of APC. That is stupidity. And as you can tell from this other letter that we are reading prior before that, it stated clearly the United Kingdom also reaffirms that it will not enter into a process of sovereignty negotiation. What do we understand by sovereignty negotiation? I'm just doing a bit of Google search to see if anything pops up. On the 3rd of November 2022, it was announced that the UK and Mauritius had decided. Do you listen to this? And I'm reading this for the first time based on the Google search. That is the beauty of Google. It is more highly intelligent than my brain because it has actually produced 61,000 results in 32 seconds. On the 3rd of November 2022, 2 years ago, it was announced that the UK and Mauritius had decided to begin negotiation on the sovereignty over the British Indian Ocean Territory. Taluwan sọ pé ká má negotiate. Many of you don't understand how the world works. I cite you, my brother Okoya Afolayan. Many Yoruba people, they're mommy in negotiation. But we will negotiate. And our right to negotiation has already started. And Baba Akintoye and the team are doing the needful under the leadership that he controls, under the deputy. That will not make us stupid. That will not make us think that because it's a Yoruba man that is there, we will not do anything. We will do something, but we will first negotiate. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Idowu, 714 on Instagram. If you're new to the platform, sit back and learn rather than trying to allow your brain to think that Nigeria is just one country that cannot be dissolved. Soviet Union was bigger than Nigeria in 1991. It actually collapsed and the world did not come to an end. Nigeria will come to an end. The people will continue to live in their own territory known as Yoruba land, Biafra land, and likewise any other that wants to live within that territory. Grandma Felicia Jagbe, good afternoon, ma'am. I am your lecturer. I will break down Nigeria to you that none of your media at home have ever done before. If the British is trying to negotiate with Mauritius under a new sovereignty, taking into account the recent international legal proceeding, in December 2023, it was reported that the UK government was planning to discontinue the talks because kò fi favour wọn. We know that already. We know that already because in tó bá ti favour UK, wọn fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan kan sí. Let me expand this because this seems to be a very interesting one to read. Chagos Island storm as David Cameron rules out return. So something is not working right for the British. Let's look at the commons. British Indian Ocean Territory. This is a report. UK to negotiate sovereignty. Can you imagine that? Ìwọ wá ní ká má negotiate sovereignty wa nínú Nigeria nítorí pé you love Nigeria so much and you believe in it. There's no doubt. We all believe in it. But now that we understood much better or understand better that Nigeria is just a British Empire. In 1965, the United Kingdom created the British Indian Ocean Territory, BIOT, also known as Chagos Archipelago. Archipelago, you okay? Yeah. Good boy. I love you. Yeah. From 1968 to 1973, it removed the local population known as Chagolosians or Ilios for the UK-US military base on the British Indian Ocean Territory. The largest island, Diego Garcia. Did you see how wide there's problem around the world today? British Empire lasted for 200 years. They created the worst thing that you can ever think of around the world. And maybe if you've never seen this image before, I have it somewhere. Let me see if I can show you. The whole empire created My wife was telling me about India, how British ruled over India and stole so much of their wealth and destroyed them through what they are doing today by deceiving us that we should hate the Igbos, knowing fully well that we don't have to hate the Igbos if we were never put together in the first place. I'm going to show you the British Empire. Bear with us in a minute. My name is OLAYOMI Koiki. What you're looking right now, these are all the multiple territories, countries. Even America fought their way out to be free from British Empire rule. But the Nigerians today think that, especially the Yoruba, we are well educated. Koiki, you cannot be talking like that. You are Mayebu. You can just sit down abroad and tell us what to do. No, nobody's telling you what to do. It is what the British created that I'm trying to reverse. Idiot. It is what the British created. All these countries that you're looking on your screen, depending on what part of the screen you're watching me from, whether it's a 65-inch or a small mobile phone or laptop, or Waris, you know, to say Britain incorporated overseas states for their own purpose. Also, we all believe in British Nigeria. It is by deception. I understand your feelings. That does not stop you from running a business in Nigeria. If you still want to contest an election, it's entirely up to you. Nobody stop you. But Nigeria must stop to exist. That is the fact, and it's going to happen. Happy New Month, Alex Mamu. Kende Olasheni Salami se Olori Buruku ni àwọn UK. Many of you today do not understand what it takes. Just leave it on the table there. Okay? What we are fighting for today, America fought it, India fought it, Pakistan fought it, and many people are still fighting it. He was never married to Laura Shaw. I don't want us to be using the word Frederick Lugard and his bitter wife. They were girlfriends and boyfriends. They were never married. And I've told you that Lugard could not find a love in UK. That is one of the reasons why he returned back to Africa on expedition. But you might probably not know, they were never married. Lugard never married Flora Shaw. They were both just girlfriend and boyfriend. Many Yoruba today do not even understand that there are countries today that have been fighting prior before our own. This is coming from the main UK Commonwealth Library Parliament.uk. Mauritius has disputed the UK sovereignty, and the removal of local Chagosians by the UK is controversial talks are planned to resolve outstanding issues. If you think that Bola Tinubu will not talk to us, I don't know what might happen, but there will be problem ahead. There's no doubt about it. We are still very patient and omoluabis, and we will remain so. But for how long that is going to happen, go and ask the IRA what they've done to the British that led to the Good Friday Agreement in 1997, put together by the former President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton, and the former Prime Minister UK, Tony Blair. 30 years, IRA said to the British, we will be free by fire, by force, and they were free. The British tried everything to infiltrate them, like DuPont Interior has been infiltrating us. They tried everything, but yet the Irish people freed themselves from the bondage of the Union. The Scottish are already asking the same thing in a civilized way. How long it's going to take before they react the other way around, I don't know. The Welsh wants to leave. Why then you, a Yoruba man, want to die and kill yourself because you believe in one Nigeria? In 1965, the UK created what they call the British Indian Ocean, just like the British created Nigeria. It is not the first time from creatively. They are very good at that. That is what the British is good at. Creating all these proxies. And after the war, people started asking for independence, which Awolowo, the Zeke, and Tafa Balewa asked for. But behind the closed door, Britain was working with the northern part of Nigeria, and they cooked all kind of stories. I am just telling you all this so that you can have a better understanding. This program will not go more than 2 hours, so we have just 20 minutes left. So I'm going to move away from the Mauritius and the UK dispute. But at least it gives you understanding that Koiki so kò ń ṣàwa nìkan la máa negotiate. Mo ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń sọ nísìn. In November, let me read this because let me read this quickly. Because if it's about the negotiation, that means they won't negotiate. Kò sí àní-àní níbẹ̀. Kò bá wa fail. It doesn't matter. Negotiation lè fail. Kò mean that will be the end of it. And don't let anybody tell you, oh, don't negotiate. Just go and fight. No, we must first negotiate even if we're going to fight. And moreover, we don't even have everything to use to fight. But we have the weapon of the social media to educate you and prepare your mind for the worst case scenario. Koiki then fight. You only dogun, no, kò tí dogun. I should negotiate, okay, idiots. Àwọn tó ń dá ogun sílẹ̀ fún ní Yaya Bello, àwọn governors yìí that have turned you all into what is called Operation Keep Them Poor. 2 disputes arose from this event. Firstly, the claim of the Mauritius to hold sovereignty over the Biot, and secondly, the right of the Shagosians to return. It's the right of the Yoruba to return back to the true territory that belongs to them. But the Yoruba people say, Koiki, èmi ò fẹ́ yẹn o. Eléyìí tẹ́ ń fà yẹn mi ò fẹ́ yẹn o. It's because wọ́n ti gba history kúrò lọ́wọ́ dádì ẹ̀ ò mọ history tó lè sọ fún ẹ kó tó kú. Ìyẹn lè ní sọ fún ẹ lénìí. Má fi dé tẹ̀ má fi lọ wo porn movie nìkan, má fi wá gbọ́ Koiki lẹ́ǹkankan. Kò sẹ́ lómi àkọ́ wọlé á jáde, bó tó bá yẹ pé porn movie lẹ́fẹ́ wò ní sí, wàá jókòó ti pa. O kọ̀ọ̀kan rẹ̀ fún ẹ ní pressure ni, torí kò lè gbé ẹ lọ anywhere. We are talking about our future of identity theft by the British in 1914, so that we can take it back. Not to take it back of Sowore, because Sowore sì fi take back Nigeria, but ó mọ̀ pé òun Nigeria ò lè work. Revolution tó ń sọ ó mọ̀ pé ó máa dàrú ni. Àwọn ò ṣe revolution and we are not secessionists like Afe Babalola, that idiot old man. The UK government has consistently rejected Mauritius' claim. Wọ́n máa reject ẹ̀ olè ní British tẹ́lẹ̀, olè gbà ni wọ́n. Àwọn ọmọ bọ́ ṣe ń fàtẹ́gùn sí nǹkan tó máa gé yín lẹ́sẹ̀ jẹ díẹ̀díẹ̀. Àwọn náà lọ máa gé yín lẹ́sẹ̀ jẹ, àwọn náà lọ máa fàtẹ́gùn sí. The UK náà wọ́n gbà, àwọn reject the claim yẹn. But ẹ̀yin lẹ create now, ṣebí wọ́n ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀, káláyé tó dáyé lolúkálukú ti mọ bí tí territory wà kó tó di pé wọ́n da gbogbo ẹ̀rú. Káláyé tó dáyé ni gbogbo wa ti mọ bí tí alúkálukú wa wà. According to the world, tẹ Ọlọ́run dá, Elédùmarè dá, ó dá gbogbo ẹ̀ dáadáa, ó pín sí bó ṣe yẹ kó wà. But yet àwọn criminals wọ́n da gbogbo ẹ̀rú. Wọ́n change the territory mọ́ olúkálukú lọ́wọ́, wọ́n change the border, wọ́n wá ń kó gbogbo wa lọ sí Rwanda nísìnyí, wọ́n náà lè gbé nílùú ìmọ̀ èyí tẹ̀ ń claim asylum. Can you imagine that? Jẹ́jẹ́ ni gbogbo àwọn òlú yẹn wà tẹ́lẹ̀. Gbogbo Africa was a beautiful place until it was destroyed by the West. Ìwọ sì wá ń fẹ́ save èyí tí West create. Mo máa ń wonder pé ṣé àwọn Yorùbá sórí yín pé ṣá? Ẹ fẹ́ save tí ìtàwọn òyìnbó create. Àwọn òyìnbó ló create Nàìjíríà, ẹ̀yin wá fẹ́ save ẹ̀. Koiki mo like green white green flag yẹn ni. Eléyìí tẹ́yìn ló yẹn ọ̀dà green white green green man. Òun lọ ní passport Nàìjíríà. Nigeria passport as at the news tó ń jáde lórí social media. Wọ́n wá equivalent ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú Afghanistan àti Sudan. Nigeria passport. Before we go, because my program yóò gbọ́dọ̀ di 2 hours long. Because I've done more than enough in the morning already. At born 4 hours. Ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí Simon Ekpa sọ ní bíbá. Ẹ lè má like it, you might not like Simon Ekpa. But the fact remains that the terrorist state Nigeria has fallen and Biafra is rising. Nigeria passport is ranked 191. We have 195 countries officially. Má jẹ́ kó tún ẹ pé ìjìnlẹ̀ ń sọ fún ẹ pé yẹn àti gba Yorùbá democratic, you are a fool. Ọmọ Yorùbá tó bá ń sọ pé àti gba country, you are a bloody fool. Orí ò pé kòkòrò rìn lórí ẹ. Kòkòrò yẹn dẹ̀ máa jẹ́, ó máa jẹ inú orí ẹ lọ. Torí pé ò ní làákàyè. níbo lẹ gba country ọ̀hún sí àdúgbò wo lẹ gbà sí Koiki mo ti rí wọn ní United Nations ọ̀dẹ̀ United Nations building tẹ́wọ́ gbogbo èèyàn ya picture níwájú ẹ̀ tí wọn náà bá gba visa tó bá lọ sí America wà á lọ ya picture níwájú bẹ̀ wà á upload ẹ̀ tó bá wá UK máa ń gbé lọ sí parliament wà á ya picture níbẹ̀ wà á upload ẹ̀ wà á lè recognize pé wọn náà dé bẹ́ẹ̀ landmark ní gbogbo kinní yẹn is a landmark that people go there and take picture wọ́n wá ní Nigerian passport ìlú tó sì wà láyé is 195 àwọn kan wà tí ò recognize Yorùbá ò tí ì sí lára ìlú kankan àti wọ́n recognize o àti wọ́n recognize o wọ́n mọ̀ pé ìlú ni wá tẹ́lẹ̀ but a ṣe negotiate lọ́wọ́ tá a bá negotiate débi tó yẹ ká negotiate tó bá fail we will do the next needful which is not for social media conversation. Nigerian passport is ranked alongside North Korea àwa ní 191 North Korea ní 192 Iraq ní 193 Libya gan mọ̀ bí abọ́ ṣe bí Libya ṣe wá tún ju Libya gbọ́dọ̀ dájú Nàìjíríà tó tí Libya ò bá dájú àwọn èèyàn ní máa sá lọ Libya. As I speak to you right now, people are already embarking that dangerous journey. Ẹlòmíì ti kú tí family ẹ̀rọ kò ṣe wà lọ́hùn. Nigerian passport is ranked 191, North Korea 192, Iraq 193, Libya 194, Sudan 195, Pakistan 196, Afghanistan 197, Syria 198, Somali 199. Àwọn tá a wà pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ní at the very bottom of the list. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told them to get a Somali way, it even gets worse for those called giants of Africa. Ẹ rántí pé Nnamdi Kanu sọ fún yín pé Nigeria will be worse than Somali. You might even be better to get a Somali passport tó bá lè possible láti lè get anything because ó sì sàn ju kò ní Nigerian passport lọ. Nigerian passport is a fake passport that will not take you anywhere. So the British UK overseas territory, Latin sọ̀rọ̀ bọ̀ Latin kan, just for conclusion. Following the UK departure of European Union, the UK government together with the government of Gibraltar and the government of Spain agreed to a political framework on how a future agreement between the UK and EU in respect of Gibraltar, gbogbo population wọn tó 40,000. These negotiations began in the October 2021, and the UK, working side by side with the government of Gibraltar, is committed to concluding a UK-EU treaty as soon as possible. Why tó wá jẹ́ pé tọ̀dọ̀ tiwa ló máa ń fẹ́ difficult? It's because we are regarded as not human beings. Mr. Chair, the second specific issue I wish to address is Falkland Island. The Falkland Island, the population was to 3,000. Gbogbo area here is 12,173 kilometers. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and like I said, this program comes to an end in 12 minutes. The Yoruba people that says that they're educated will probably be telling you, hey, don't worry about Gibraltar. That one is far away. In 2013 referendum, in 2013 in referendum, which was conducted in line with international standard and was observed by independent international observer, 99.8% of those who voted wanted to maintain their current status as territory of the United Kingdom. Why are we not doing the same thing in Nigeria? It's because the politicians are concerned and worried that would automatically let loose countries that want to be free. These results sent a clear message of self-determination, which is what we have been talking about later. Some even say, Koiki need a referendum. Why should we get a referendum? Because they are good at rigging, just like they rig election during the INEC election. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. You are new to the platform. Kunle Bakers, when you come in, I cite you and I know that. Thank you so much. We cannot love you less. We appreciate you all the time. My job will be to educate you, idiot, that think that you are well learned. I'm a true Nigerian. I am a true Nigerian. There's nothing called Nigeria, okay? It is all fabrication. British money, and don't expect their king to support the dissolution of Nigeria. But táwọn ọba tí wá bá gbóhùn sókè, ọba ìlú yóò ní any other choice than to respect that. But àwọn ọba wa ò gbójú sókè. So we can only pray for them that one day they will do more. In 2013, which was conducted in line with international standard, there was a referendum. The wishes expressed freely should be respected. Why is it that to jẹ́ pé wish tiwa nísìn wọ́n fi respected? It's because they are not seeing us as the way we are seeing them. Àwa náà fẹ́ express wish wa, but wọ́n ní a lè express ẹ̀ àti ká bá lọ kó ìbọn síta ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bára wa jà kó máa tàbọn fún wa. That's what they want. The West are good at that. They want to create the violence, but they are not ready to allow us in a peaceful dissolution of Nigeria. But I know that this will end well. Thank you so much for those of you watching me all the way in the United States of America. Let me just jump a little bit. Chair, in conclusion, the UK remain committed to respecting and defending the right of the people of each territory to determine their own future. Kí ló wá dé tí àwa òkè jẹ́ káwa determine future tiwa? Ṣẹ̀rí pọ́rọ̀ yẹn funny. Kò funny sí àbí? Kò funny sí mi. Because àwa nísìnyí pariwo future. Ó ń pariwo future nínú Nàìjíríà. Ó lè rí future nínú Nàìjíríà. Kò ń ṣe pé. And when we say donate, it is voluntary. And don't come and ask me, oh, Koiki, kí ló dé tó máa ń béèrè owó? Like I said, it's ethical. We pray that you can give us. If you don't give, there's no problem. But don't question those that are giving. Have you ever asked why Metro newspaper is producing the free paper? Free in the UK. Koto free dọ́dọ̀ tiẹ̀. Some people have paid their nose to make it free for you. In conclusion, UK remain committed to respecting and defending the right of the people of each territory to determine their own future in line with the UN Charter. In line with the UN Charter. Kí ni UN Charter yẹn? The UN Charter, nígbà tí mo lọ mú jáde, ó jẹ́ kó yé mi pé, okay, these are non-self-governing territories. Where is the UN Charter? UN Charter yẹn lélẹ̀. Declaration on the granting of independent colonial countries. Kódà UK ò wà lónú ìjókòó yìí àti America àti Portugal àtàwọn òbí bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Mo ti sọ àwọn òbí yẹn fún yín rí. They refused to sit down in 1960, 14th of December, nígbà tí wọ́n produce resolution 1514. Resolution wọn ni Dúpọ̀ Onítìrì fi gba country fún yín, ẹ̀yin bomb bastard. Mo sọ fún yín pé ìjìnlẹ̀ ò ní làákàyè. Ó lè máa sọ Yorùbá kó máa dùn lẹ́nu, kò ní understanding tí mo sọ ẹ̀. Ẹni kó fún yín ní resolution tí wọ́n fi fún wọn ní Yorùbá democratic country ní United Nations, ẹ̀yin idiot. Àwa rí bàbá Sami, bàbá òfò, ẹ̀yin bàbá burúkú, ẹ̀yin bàbá tá a rò pé èèyàn gidi, kò àṣẹ kòkòrò rìn lórí gbogbo yín. Ó pọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn kan fi máa kàjọ mi. Koiki ò bá dẹ̀ súnmọ́ wọn díẹ̀, kẹtẹ̀ bá wọn fọwọ́ kún kẹtẹ̀ kò ní da fún gbogbo yín látòkè délẹ̀. Èmi tèmi gbé ní UK, tèmi wà pẹ̀lú àwọn òyìnbó gidi lèmi bá gbé. Èmi ò gbé pẹ̀lú àwọn òyìnbó Eastern European. Èmi tí mo ṣiṣẹ́ ní parliament. Èmi tí mo láǹfààní àti wọ parliament ní so many times. Tí mo mọ̀ pé tó bá tẹ̀ sọ pé ó ń sàn kankan nípa UN, o gbọ́dọ̀ reference ibi tó wà ká lè lọ mú jáde. Wọ́n wá sọ pé pọ́ gba country fún yín, àwọn ọ̀dẹ̀. Ẹ wá ń jó ẹ̀ ń yọ̀ lórí social media. Ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ ayé di dundons. Mo kí ìyàwó Tonade Victoria. Mo kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ wà lábẹ́ ètò láì yọ nìkan kan sílẹ̀. Ẹni kan fún yín ní resolution tó fi fún wọn ní country, àwọn ọ̀dẹ̀. Some of you don't even understand anything, but àwa máa máa ṣàlàyé fún yín. Ní 1960 ká tó máa lọ, there was a General Assembly resolution tó sọ pé gbogbo àwọn colonial countries bíi Nàìjíríà, Kenya, àwọn ìlú tí àwọn òyìnbó lórí burúkú tó ti jẹ tí wọ́n pa bí Belgium ṣe jẹ Congo pa, ó jẹ́ pa débi pé ó sọ Congo di empire tiẹ̀ àkútúkù ẹ̀ lọ́rùn. Very wicked individuals. Àwọn àbí simple àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹni kan point bí kòkòrò ń jẹun ó ń jẹ lórí ìjìnlẹ̀ fún rẹ̀ ẹ̀yin àwọn èèyàn mọ́ ni ẹ̀yin náà máa wo orí ẹ̀ kòkòrò ń jẹun lórí ẹ̀ kòkòrò jẹun lórí wọn lọ́lọ́ gbé picture Obama wọ́n ní kọ́ máa jó kọ́ máa yọ̀ á ti confam ẹ̀ níbo lọ́ ti confam ẹ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ dẹ̀ ló dẹ̀ gbé yẹn jáde àti Wálé Àlì gbogbo wọn ni kòkòrò ń jẹun lórí ẹ̀ Wálé Àlì yẹn ẹlòmíì gbé ní UK o bẹ́ẹ̀ láìní tó gbé kò ń ṣe gbogbo àtàkùn kámẹ́rà tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ la gbádùn o àwọn bí Wálé Àlì yàn gbádùn o ẹ̀yin náà ẹ máa wò nígbà mi tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ èmi ọmọ àwórì èmi kankan á máa sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ sometimes kò ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn tó ń gbé labroad ló yẹ kó wà labroad ìyẹn ni UK ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ deport púpọ̀ nínú yín padà lọ sí Rwanda one bastards. General Assembly resolution. The General Assembly resolution, mindful of the determination proclaimed by the peoples of the world in the charter yìí náà ni UK ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí tó ní ṣíà ta ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí arákùnrin ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ ó ń ṣe presentation yìí ní last year èèyàn kan wá máa sọ pé a ti gba country kò sí presentation ní United Nations kò sí kankan bàbá wèrè kan wá jáde ó sọ pé a ti gba country òun ni Fálétílé òun lòun ló represent I am the Yoruba ambassador to United bàbá yẹn kòkòrò rìn lórí ẹ o irú àwọn bàbá yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ ní sí kòkòrò bíi mẹ́fà ló rìn lórí tòun nìkan mad people all over the place and we have Yoruba people wọ́n dẹ̀ jókòó ẹ máa gbàdúrà Adélé ti dé o ẹ máa jó ẹ máa yọ̀ ní 21st century kòkòrò rìn lórí yín kòkòrò ó ti rìn lórí yín dẹ́mọ̀ ká tó máa lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i mo ní a lè parí gbogbo program yìí negotiation la kì í sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí negotiation kí là ń sọ negotiation bàbá Akíntóyè pẹ̀lú Tinubu bó fẹ́ kó gbọ́ bó bá òun kó má gbọ́ òun ni lẹ́tà tá a gbé síwájú ẹ̀ kò bá má gbọ́ kò bá gbọ́ àwọn ti gbé lẹ́tà síwájú ẹ̀ process tíyàn máa ń gbé nìyẹn gbogbo ẹni tó bá wá ní bàbá Akíntóyè ò mọ̀ ṣe ò bá gbé bàbá ẹ̀ jáde àti màmá ẹ̀ kátẹ̀ kọ́kọ́ wò bọ́ ṣe rí at that age tí bàbá Akíntóyè wà kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fún mi ní picture video evidence dádì ẹ kọ́ máa sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà slow bí ọ̀dẹ̀ torí àwọn àgbàlagbà míì wà tó bá ti dé stage yẹn àgbàlagbà ni wọ́n máa rí kò ń ṣe bí ti bàbá Akíntóyè ó sharp lórí ó sharp lọ́pọlọ and he's doing the needful and he has ṣé Joe Biden ló ń ṣe gbogbo iṣẹ́ wọ́n ní Joe Biden tí ẹni pé kó kọ̀ jáde kó máa sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan ó ní gbogbo tíìm tó ń bá ṣiṣẹ́ àwa ni tíìm bàbá Akíntóyè bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹni tó bá tẹ́ lọ́rùn mo sọ fún yín pé the nearest bridge tó bá wà ẹ jump sínú ẹ̀kẹ́kú dànù he remains the leader of the Yoruba nation ní leader gbogbo Yorùbá torí àwọn bàbá òfò àwọn Afẹ́nifẹ́ bí olè àwọn Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá àwọn yẹn ni leader yín that keeps you in poverty àwọn tó lè yá yín ní 1 million pé sáré lọ fi ṣe àwọn ìyá tiwa máa ń yá wọn máa ń yára wọn lówó ni alájà ní dọ́là lé mú níbi $30,000 ó yẹ sáré bá ń kó ó fẹ́ sáré travel kó tó dé wá ti máa dáwó yẹn padà wá ti máa ṣe fúnra wọn padà ní dọ́là náà la máa gbà padà wọn nígbà ní náírà o nígbà tí ìyá mi wá rí pé ọ̀rọ̀ bó ṣe ń lọ ní 1990 dọ́là ò tí ì wọ 35 naira mo sì ní gbèsè lẹ́ni nísìn ó ń jàǹfààní state pension nílùú yìí ó ń jàǹfààní healthcare nílùú yìí ó ń jàǹfààní security welfare ṣé màmá tiẹ̀ náà ń jàǹfààní ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà mo kí gbogbo lílẹ̀ nǹkan sí at 1 hour 59 minutes bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Ṣẹ́gun ọ̀nà mugun pọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wọn ní ìbáwá la lówó wa ìbẹ́ tí wọ́n ti kówó oúnjẹ ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ àti pọ̀pọ̀f ibi táyọ̀ bá dẹ̀ ti ń ṣe ló ti ń jẹ ìjìnlẹ̀ náà ti jẹ tiẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ so ẹ̀kúkú lè lọ wọ́n ṣà showcase tọ́ba tẹ bá wí lọ wíbọn tẹ bá ní ìjìnlẹ̀ òṣèlú kan ní ìbò ṣàgbé ní secretariat ẹ̀bẹ́ rí láwọn èèyàn ní secretariat ẹ̀ ṣáà rí tán yìnbọn méjì pápápápápápá wọn náà délé ti dé dúpọ̀ ní tìrì òun ti ya pé jáde wọ́n ló múra bí ẹlẹ́hàá kúrò lẹ́nu ní Ìbàdàn ni bá ṣe gbọ́ àwọn tó pè mí wọ́n ló múra jáde bí ẹlẹ́hàá ni orí yín á pé ẹ rò pé máa pariwo lórí social media lẹ́fẹ̀ẹ́ fi gbà no constructive argument ẹ wá prepare for the worst case scenario. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni èmi ò tí ì sọ pé kò ní sí ìjà èmi ò lo overrule yẹn kúrò but negotiation lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ o rẹ̀ lè máa ti méjèèjì bọ́nú igi kan náà a lè máa negotiate kí n máa pariwo bá fẹ́ jà mo ti fẹ́ stupid nìyẹn mo ò ní làákàyè mọ́ nìyẹn ìyẹn sọ fún mi pé ìyẹn kúrò bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ wà negotiate lọ́wọ́ mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ kan sí èmi náà ń pè ní Ọláyọmí Kóìkì o mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ èmi náà ni kò pé méjì mo kí ẹ capture smooth bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mad people all over the place tábà wá ní kẹ́ support wa kò ń ṣe dandan ọ̀tẹ̀ bá fún wa àgbà pẹ̀lú àlàáfíà mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin fún wa ní náírà ni ní tẹ́ bá fẹ́ fún wa ní dọ́là ẹ bá ní the Zelle account ẹ̀yẹn ṣàkàn sí mi àsọdẹ ṣe máa sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí wa tó bá wá ní kankan tẹ́ fẹ́ fún wa ẹ máa fàdúrà ràn mí lọ́wọ́ ìyẹn náà tó àdúrà tó kò dẹ̀ ń pọ̀ àdúrà ò dẹ̀ ń pọ̀ mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ kan sí o I will not be out again ó tún di ìgbà tá a bá tún jáde kémi náà lọ ṣe kí n lọ spend time pẹ̀lú family mi torí pé wọ́n ní family come first mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ kan sí Yorùbá nation taba ni no going back no going back náà ni kò sí àní níbẹ̀ no go back níbo la fẹ́ go back sí àwa ti takú tì lọ́rùn we are going nowhere a máa ta tán délẹ̀ ni ẹ̀rọ níṣẹ́ kankan iṣẹ́ máa wá educate brain kòkòrò tó wà lórí yín bóyá rìn jáde cause some of you mọ̀ tẹ́ fẹ́ ìyẹn lè ṣe tẹ̀lé ìyá òfò yẹn ṣe kò díẹ̀ mo náà wà lánìí sí àgbẹ̀yìn mo kí gbogbo lílẹ̀ kan sí o orí ìbọ̀à tó bá nídìí lẹ́tà yìí a ti pin náà ó ti lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ díẹ̀ lórí social media lórí WhatsApp ó wà lórí website mi koikimedia.com www.koikimedia mẹ́ta ni w yẹn o koikimedia.com kó wá lọ síbi tí ọkọ̀ Chief Sunday Igboho's house sí tó bá click lórí ẹ̀ wàá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ PDF ni Baba Akintoye's letter to Bola Ahmed Tinubu mo kí senior evangelist John mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin aládùúrà gbogbo pátápátá ni mo ti kó papọ̀ ká má tún máa pẹ́ ju bó ṣe yẹ lọ mo fẹ́ kó ju 2 hours lọ mo dúpẹ́ fún gbogbo yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí èmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì mo kí ní gbogbo Badagry o no retreat no surrender no retreat no surrender àwa la ní sí àgbẹ̀yìn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ ire o.